Well, the left-wing news outlets are saying that Trump doesn't have any proof that the ballots have not all been counted and that there is, nothing going on. But this article here was put out yesterday, and they're still, looking for these ballots. Here, I'll play a little bit of it for you.
815 mail-in ballots found in Texas Postal Service sweeps. After a record surge of mail-in voting, a federal judge is demanding to know why the Postal Service disobeyed his order to sweep processing facilities for 300,000 missing mail-in ballots nationwide on Election Day. Wednesday, U.S. District Judge Emmett Sullivan ordered even more sweeps in Texas, including 3 mail processing plants in North Texas. In Dallas, 2 sweeps Wednesday afternoon turned up a total of 35 mail-in ballots. Local. In Coppell, 89 were found. In Fort Worth, workers located 323 ballots, according to a court filing late Wednesday. Across Texas, sweeps at 14 facilities turned up a total of 815 mail-in ballots. If you think the numbers don't make a difference, just ask former State Representative Rodney Anderson, who won his 2016 race by just 64 votes. They can absolutely make a difference, said Anderson, who is now the chairman of the Dallas County Republican Party. According to state law, mail-in ballots must be postmarked by Election Day, but had to be delivered to election boards by close of business Wednesday. I think it is concerning any time that legally cast ballots are put in a position where they're not counted, whether that is a post office error, whether that is an elections department error, said Anderson. Wednesday, the U.S. Postal Service said, "The assumption that there are unaccounted ballots within the Postal Service network is inaccurate. These ballots were delivered in advance of the election deadlines. We employed extraordinary measures to deliver ballots directly to local boards of elections. When this occurs, by design, these ballots bypass certain processing operations and do not receive a final scan. Instead, they are expedited directly to the boards of elections. We remain in close contact with state and local boards of elections, and we do not currently have any open issues." Additionally, the Postal Inspection Service has physically inspected all plants that process ballots. "We will continue to accept, process, and deliver ballots as they are entered into the network." The USPS said postal inspectors have already been conducting daily reviews at all 220 facilities that process ballots. The hundreds of ballots found in Texas are reportedly in the hands of election boards after a rush delivery to ensure no ballot is left behind. This year, 157 million people voted by mail and in person. That's 65% of all voters, which is the highest rate in a century. U.S. Postal Service blows court-ordered deadline to check for missing ballots. About 300,000 can't be traced. The U.S. Postal Service blew a court-ordered deadline Tuesday to sweep mail processing facilities in more than a dozen states for missing election ballots that could number in the hundreds of thousands. U.S. District Court Judge Emmett Sullivan in Washington ordered the sweep Tuesday morning, after the Postal Service said its delivery performance had dropped over the past 5 days, and could not say whether more than 300,000 ballots received in its facilities had been delivered. The sweep was to happen in 12 postal districts, including in battleground states Arizona, Florida, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Texas, and Wisconsin. Reports of undelivered ballots cropped up over the weekend, including in Miami-Dade County, Florida. A sweep of the Princetown Post Office in Miami found 62 ballots. A missed deadline is the second most common reason for rejected absentee ballots across the U.S., behind non-matching signatures. The most important thing that needs to happen now is for all the ballots to be identified, swept up, and delivered to elections offices that have poll closing deadlines today, said Wendy Weiser, Director of Democracy at the Brennan Center for Justice at New York University Law School, in response to the court filings Tuesday. If the Postal Service doesn't do that, I think there will be a reasonable argument on behalf of voters whose ballots arrive late, she said. It would be illegal and unfair to disenfranchise them, assuming they submitted their ballots reasonably, and there was an obstruction by the Postal Service that led to the outcome. Because the election involves a candidate who oversaw the department that was obstructing the Postal Service, she said, that would raise legitimate concerns of fairness and impropriety.
Of the United States over 2 centuries ago, they didn't exactly trust that the American people, or even Congress, could make the right choice for president. So they compromised and set up a system called the Electoral College, where even if a candidate wins the popular vote, they still might not win the presidency. Think Al Gore's loss to George W. Bush in 2000 and Hillary Clinton to Donald Trump in 2016. The Electoral College currently consists of 538 electors, one for each member of Congress plus 3 for the District of Columbia. Each state is assigned a different allotment of votes based on how many people live there. In 48 states and D.C., the candidate winning the popular vote receives all that state's votes, the exceptions being Nebraska and Maine. Those 2 states assign 2 electoral votes to the winner of the state's overall popular vote and 1 to the winner of each congressional district's popular vote. For a candidate to win the presidency, they must secure at least 270 electoral votes, a majority of the 538. This so-called indirect election process has come under a lot of criticism lately, with detractors calling it undemocratic. Proponents argue the Electoral College ensures that citizens of less populous states are equally represented and stands as an important piece of American federalist democracy.